Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a time for the package from China. And oh yeah, this one is gigantic. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's awesome that you're still tuned in, because we're going to take a close look at something pretty cool today. It's more like the Super Consolix arcade stick, and this thing surpasses maybe the Pandora's box. Yup. So this is a very interesting story. So let's get this thing out of the box. The Kaku K-Play. This product has been sent in for purpose of your review. And the reason I basically accept this, because I'm not into this YouTube stuff for the free goodies. No, I find this product really interesting, and therefore I wanted to show you here. It is based on Android and has the capability of transforming into a 2-player stick, or you can basically make it 2 separate sticks. Quite interesting, a lot of stuff that we've never seen before. The design itself is something that is more like a personal thing. I must say, it's okay. I personally prefer my Mortal Kombat Pandora's Box DX stick, but this thing is... it's okay, let's put it this way. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of the design itself? But okay guys, let's open it up, because I wanted to show you and unbox it together with you guys. So if we're going to do this all freaking day, I'm going to get beefcake all the way. So inside we're going to get a lot of goodies. To begin with, we're going to get a mouse. Yeah, seriously, because when we're putting up without the extra software, yep, you're going to need it with the Android. Kind of interesting. Also, we're going to get some spare buttons. We're going to get a lot of cables, USB cables and some converters. Here we're going to get another cable, because we're going to boot it up with a 5-volt power adapter like your mobile phone. An instruction manual, the deluxe toilet paper manual with a light explanation how it works. A very long HDMI cable, a very nice quality one. And here we're having like the other attachments that we're going to need if you want to make this thing like a 2-player up to a 1-player. Made from very thick plastic. And I'm missing like a little knob over here. Here we have another one, and here as he is, the big boy himself. I must say the packaging itself, they did a very good job. And this thing is freaking heavy. Holy shit. Ah, here he is. The power charger. It's just a 5-volt, nothing really special, but we need it. And here he is. And I must say that the stick itself is a little bit smaller than your typical Pandora's box. So in other words, I'm very happy that you have the option to basically split it open. That is something we're going to do now, because I just wanted to show you. So let's take a close look at the bottom part, because here we're having some interesting features too. So over here we're going to get the option to choose between the Xbox 360 PC. So that's very convenient, also if you want to use it on different systems. Here we have the option to put it in Android mode, and here we can put it in PlayStation 4 mode. So when you're removing the caps over here, it's kind of weird that it's more like a flap. You cannot fully remove them. So this is basically the thing that connects both of the controllers. That's it. But I just want to do in disassembly, because I just want to show you how the transforming mode works. Okay guys, so next up, let's take a close look at the transformer mode. So what you need to do, like you need to slide these two over here. That's it. That's the only thing. Now it's unlocked, and now you can slide the 2 parts and make it a 1 joystick. That's it. It's a really cool thing and a really awesome feature. Something I have never seen before with a Pandora's box. Okay, so let's get ourselves a piece of plastic or the attachment. And the only thing you need to do, like when you disassemble it, is that you're going to slide it in. You need to be careful with the 2 sliders over here at the back. Click it in. It goes quite sturdy. And that's it, folks. And we're having ourselves a 1-player stick. And this is a feature that makes me really excited. But let's take a close look at the stick. Should we stick it together? Nah, just review it like this. The reason why we got so many different cables is very simple. So the original one that is attached, you cannot disassemble it from the joystick itself. You can't remove it, so you're stuck with it. But here we're going to get the USB port. We need to connect this one. But with this port, we can basically hook the systems up together. But also you can use it like a separate system on let's say an Xbox 360 Android with the switch that I've shown you before. But this new method of playing your games is pretty cool in my opinion. But take consideration that the left one over there is containing the main board. So if you want to plug them in, I think it's not super convenient and the 2-player stick will be the best option. But if you want to have like one for your games, like plug and play arcade, and you have one for your game console, then this option is pretty interesting. But let's take a close look at the system itself. What are we going to get with the connections and what kind of controls do we get? Okay, so first of all, we're going to get the 6-button layout. For old school games, it's just more than enough. But if you want to play like the modern games, it's a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. The button quality is okay. So we're going to get the same long travel Chinese buttons like we get on most of the arcade Pandora box sticks. And I must say that I'm a little bit disappointed with the quality of the wiggle stick, simply because it's more like a Senwa clone. They're not really bad, but for the price that you're paying for the device, give us at least a Senwa joystick. Both controllers are going to get a player 1 button over here. And at the back we're going to get 2 other buttons that we're going to need like for going back into the main menu, but you can configure them if you want to use them on an, let's say, a different system like an Android box or a PlayStation. So all the buttons that you're going to need for select start are over here. But what kind of connections do we have more? So to begin with, having here the on and off switch, we're having audio out, HDMI out, we're having USB connection, we're having here the TF slot, there is a card included with some software on it. Then we're going to get a Type-C connection 5V input, and that's it. I already mentioned this device runs on Android, and we're having the option to install EMU-ALEC. It's quite interesting because that makes this thing, in my opinion, better than the Pandora's box, because EMU-ALEC has so much better options. So let's de-transform it back into one stick and let's plug it in our system. Because first we're going to boot it up without the SD card that was included. Okay, so let's boot up the system. We're going to get introduced by the K-Play special intro, "Your future is unlimited." Yeah, it's a little bit overrated if you ask me, but the thing is, like, you can do a lot of great things with it, and that we're going to talk about. So this thing is basically an Android box that is inside, and that is what you're going to get when you're booting up the system. But there are some things I wanted to show you before we get into the, let's say, EMU-ALEC part. I know that a lot of people were not happy with this arcade stick, and there are a couple of reasons. To begin with, I think this option, it's just, yeah, clunky. It's not super convenient. So they give you the option to sideload over here. I installed some APK files that you can do through the store or, let's say, with the sideloading way. But overall, it's not a great way. They have installed some application for playing some retro games. But then overall, this guy looks happy, but I can just say this is not the way you want to play. It's just one nice looking menu, but it is very clunky to navigate. And this is just not the way you want to play these games. So in overall, I was not really pleased to see this, and I know that a lot of people were not happy. But let's take a close look at the specs and let's talk about the EMU-ALEC option, because that makes this thing pretty damn badass. Okay guys, so let's take a close look at the specifications. Let's begin with the general systems. So having here the aim logic, that is a model number K-Play. Board is the X96W+. It has 2 GB of RAM. In total 60 GB of internal storage. The CPU is an ARM Cortex A53 quad core that's running on 1200 MHz, so that is not really fast. The GPU itself is a Mali 450 MP. In my opinion, these are not the best specs I have seen, and running on a very old Android 7.1.2. So this is what you're going to get when it comes to the specs and the Android box. And if everything works like a charm and you have set up the memory card or the SD card like it should be, the EMU-ALEC will pop up. And with EMU-ALEC this brings us just to the next level. In my opinion, maybe it will be even better than a Pandora's box. Because EMU-ALEC has so much potential when it comes to the piece of software. We can add bezels, aspect ratio, filters, you name it. And we can play way more games than we could play with the Pandora's box. Okay, so when it comes to the EMU-ALEC, what I already mentioned is that we're having support for so many different games. From the old school Atari, Commodore 64, Amiga, we can play so much on this machine. There is only one big downside to this. And the thing is more like they are using old specs, like you can say almost with the Super Console X. The Super Console X is even slightly more powerful than this arcade machine. And that makes a little bit of a downside, because now the high-end stuff that couldn't even run on the Super Console X, it will have most of the time the same issues. But let's take a close look at some games and let's see how they're running. Of course, we're only having one joystick, so that means like games like N64, PlayStation 1, there will be games that are not playable because we need to configure the joystick with an analog stick. And we're only having one joystick, so that's a little bit of a problem. Okay, so this is the first game I wanted to try out, because Super Console X also have a lot of struggles with this. And the main reason is that this stick is not powerful enough. A little bit of a bummer. So I'm hoping in the future, if they're going to release a new version, that this thing will get some more juice, so we can actually play Atomic Wave way better. Okay, next up, Sega Dreamcast. It will have like the normal glitches. I think you don't see them in this particular level. With Marvel vs. Capcom or the two-dimensional games, you will see like some minor dips, but overall it seems to be playing just fine. But it's just a really cool addition that you can play some Sega Dreamcast on this stick itself. I'm getting my ass whooped by Zangief. Let's go, Bob. Oh man, I love these soundtracks. Alright, so next up, Mortal Kombat for me. A game that is really demanding. The sound is a little bit off. I did note like it doesn't sound that crisp and clear like it usually does. Sabi wabi. But the overall emulation performance seems to be looking very good. Alright, let's go. Ha! Gotcha. Come on. Gotcha again. Oh! Almost perfect. Come on, come on. Ah. Absolutely. Next up, PlayStation 1. But I think it's more like a Captain Marvel moment. You can see that in the sidebars, of course. But this ruined like a charm on the specification of this mainboard. Woo! I'm getting my ass kicked by King. Take him on his own. Damn it. Ooh, almost. Ooh. You missed me, boo. The first generation N64 games will run fine, or good enough to enjoy. But take into consideration that if you're going to play more demanding games, it will be like a mixed bag. This device doesn't have the required power to run most games. And when you're playing with an arcade stick and the game itself doesn't support like a D-pad, you're just done. And in my case, I didn't even set the turbo button. See, that's the downside with having only 6 buttons. Okay, so let's do a quick teardown. The only thing that we need to do is removing the screws. There are quite a lot of them. They made this thing for very thick plastic, so I think, in my opinion, even I'm more like the fan of the metal, let's say of the metal versions of Pandora's boxes. This thing feels quite sturdy, and because of the thick plastic, and they used a lot of screws to putting this thing together. Alright, so let's cut this video and let's open it up. Alright, so this is what we're going to get, and they are quite naughty in my opinion, because they are using this metal plate. At first you're picking up and thinking, oh man, this thing weighs quite heavy for a plastic fantastic stick, but they are just cheating with this metal plate to give more weight. Okay, so what you're going to get here is, this is so far I understand, like this is the encoder board, and all the buttons will be plugged in over here, and this will be connected to the Android box itself. But you can see that it's just a custom board. It's not something they grabbed out of the shell. So K-Play just not only designed the box itself, but they also designed the encoder board that comes with it. Well, let's take a close look at the other half. To begin with, the joystick. It can be replaced, but there's a little bit different and weird story. So normally we're having like the normal screws over here. You can use them if you want to, but this one has been like assembled in a very strange way. You need to remove the octal gate, the micro switches, and then we're going to get 4 Parkers that we need to remove. The buttons on the other hand are just like, you can just pop them out very easy. So if you want to replace them with Senwa or another brand, that is no problem whatsoever. Here we're having the main board itself. It's basically like I think they did sound like a specially modified K-Play special main board. In the end, it's just it's just a TV box. And the cooling element itself, yeah, it's a basic element they just slapped on. You can even, I think if I can basically twin it around, I can basically remove it if I want to. It also has Wi-Fi capabilities. The antenna is over here. So yeah, again, it's just an Android box that is slapped into this device. So like with the Pandora's box, you can upgrade it in the future, but what you see is what you're going to get over here. Sadly, there is no way of upgrading the main board. And that is something you need to take consideration. Maybe in the future we'll like upgrade the board itself or give yourself an option, but it's just, I think, the biggest downside to this. There is no way of upgrading it, and it's quite an expensive, unique product. Okay, so let's talk about the pros and the cons. The positive side about the stick is that it's Android based and we can install a like. Maybe in the future they will deliver the stick like this. And the reason I just wanted to show you, because this is just a very great thing. Maybe like has so much support, bezels, aspect ratio, you name it, everything that we always wish to have within Pandora's box, we have it now with the stick. The only downside is that this device itself has not a lot of power and you are limited again to a lot of stuff that didn't play well, especially when it comes to the higher end stuff. Sega Dreamcast 3-dimensional games, PlayStation Portable and 64, it's all a mixed bag. I want to thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.